All right, so we're gonna start recording. I'm gonna pull up FL11. We're gonna get started. All right. So pretty much what I do from here from this point is what you want to do is start a melody. So like you'll want to click right click and click replace, obviously, and then just kind of replace it with one of your VSTs. I like to always use, I like expand a lot. You won't have that because you have all the stock VSTs. So another good one for you to actually use that has some pretty cool sounds is Harmor. Hopefully it's not demo. Oh no, you have the legit version. So this has VSTs in it. So like whenever you get into a problem like this where it won't let you see the full screen, you can click this down arrow and then you hit detach, right? And then now you'll be able to move it. Yeah, but this one's all is just a big VST. I wonder if you can shrink it down to size. Because I remember I could never actually see the keys on it when I had it on my other one. But so after you've already got it pulled up, you hit that detach thing so you can kind of move it around a little bit more freely. You want to hit go to presets, and now this is going to show you all the sounds that's in there. Typically, what I like to, it depends on what kind of style and beat like you're going for. You need to kind of like start playing with it, learn how to make a beat, and then you'll start making your own type of style, your own vibe. You'll know how to like start. I like to start with pads and whatnot, or keys or something, or like a bell. So let's start with, and you'll want to learn kind of like what these mean. So like an arp right here. ARP is short for arpeggiator, so it's like a moving sound, so it sounds like it's vibrating or wiggly. Like I've talked about that in a couple other videos. Then you'll have something like a bass. A bass is like you hear that a lot in Drake's music, like that hard hum that like shakes the whole car. Like it sounds like an 808, but it ain't quite it. That's a bass. Then you'll have bells, which is like little plucks, little dings, like stuff you hear in like a lot of Zaytoven stuff or Migos, that type of stuff. And then FX usually is like some type of sound background noise or some type of weird shit. You got keyboard, that's obvious, like an actual keyboard or some type of sound like that. Leads are usually like Chief Keef used to use them a lot in his earlier ones. Like they sound a lead is just like a flute type of sound. It's not a flute, but like you play a flute and it draws out the sound for a long time. That's pretty much how I can explain a lead. Pads are like really soft ambient type sounds that are like they're there, but it's more of like a background noise. You can use it as like a primary sound, but it's like a background type of sound, right? And then percussion, that's like whatever you kind of know percussion. The sequence is kind of the same as an art as far as like it being a moving sound. And you got strings over there, self-explanatory, and then synthesizer is just kind of basically kind of falls in the same line as a keyboard sound, but it's usually like an electronic sound that was like like a made sound. So like keyboards would be something like a piano. Synthesizers might be something that sounds like buttons, like beep beep pop pop, like actual sounds that don't exist. I guess if that makes sense. You see what I'm saying? Like what I'm saying. A piano exists. So I like to start with pads. You can start with anything. Some people start with like straight melodies and start with like a keyboard sound or something. It don't really matter at all whatsoever. So the first thing that I would suggest you do though, and kind of try to make it easier on you, is to use something like either like a piano is like your best bet to start off with because reason being, let's just start with a regular piano out of here. Reason being is because the piano you can hear the keys and hear like if it's out of tune. You know what I mean? So you can tell if something doesn't make sense. So when you hit when you're here and you've picked out your sound or whatever, what you'll do is like you right click it and you want to go to the piano roll. So like this is like your keyboard on the side and everything, right? And actually let me show you yeah, your velocity so you can actually see those things. So like you'd want to you'd want to find like some type of melody, something that all the keys go together. Usually how I started off in the beginning was I start off with chords. So like if you were to hit these three right here, that would be a chord. These three would be these three would be a chord. And the best way to kind of know chords is like I don't know a whole lot of music theory, just like basic stuff. I just know that every other key, these white keys, will always go together. Right. That these are going to be a chord, so that means these three are going to be a chord. That means these are going to be a chord. These are going to be. So it just you may want to actually get like a keyboard and kind of play with it,
Right.
but you'll be able to hear it and tell that something doesn't sound right. So like this, those are all in key. But if I did something like this,
okay,
it's out of key. Now, however, it's out of key, but at the same time, you still can make some beats that will still work like that. It'll cause tension in the actual beat. So like how Metro Boomin makes his beats and it sounds like it's a dark kind of evil type of sound is because he's incorporating black keys. So like if you were to have a chord like I don't know, say you did that and that was a chord and you involve the black key, it's gonna sound dark. Okay. Whereas if it's all white keys, it's gonna sound like a bright, happy, more melodic melody. Okay. So it just kind of depends. You got to kind of learn the music theory a little bit. I don't know really much of any of that anymore. I used to know a lot when I was like in school and I was taking that class, but I don't remember a lot at all. It's been a couple of years. So that's how the key technically. So starting with something like this, that's one chord, right? And then you'll want to learn your shortcuts too. So like if you hold,
right, that's what you kill those in your videos.
yeah, I got it. I wish I could do them. And then like yeah, and like somebody just like put the edits up there, but I haven't gotten that advanced yet on the video stuff. So like
so you just copied it?
Yeah, so I just copied it. So all I did was hold control and then that makes it to where you can do like that. Okay. And then just highlighted it and then I hit shift and held it and I clicked on it and it made a duplicate copy. Yeah. Delete. So like so you got that now. So another thing that you'll want to know is how to count your bars, right? So the best how I do mine is I usually will make like a little 8-bar loop, like right here in these 4, and then I repeat it on the next bars here 5 through 8. Okay. So I'll show you. So we're gonna go into piano roll over here on my end, right? Same thing that we did over there. And this isn't the best way to like find melodies, like using your keyboard. It's not. Oh, it's not. Nah, this is just how I do. This is because I know what to do with it. Yeah, I'm used to doing it, and I know how to do it at this point. Yeah, it's just a matter of picking them up over time. Like, just doing it. Yeah, just watch a couple of YouTube videos on the shortcuts because I don't know all of them. I just know a handful of them, the ones that kind of matter. But there's a guy that I watched on YouTube. He went there and went through all of them. He even made a little cheat sheet for you too, where it shows them all. I'm gonna use this so I can hear it a little bit better. And then, so let's just say I want to make a melody. So I start off with some chords. And so, how can I explain it? So you want to make sure when you're making your melodies, you want to make sure everything's in time right too. So meaning like, this is going to sound off. Well, I have my snap on. So like, let me see if your snap is on. Yeah, yours is on too. So what snap is like if I click it, it's gonna go to like the next little block. You see what I'm saying? Like it clicks into the block. If you don't have snap on, you can really just kind of put this block anywhere and you can make it out of time. So like, let's see. Got it, man. Let's do this. So like, that's still ain't it. I think it is. See how like I can kind of have that halfway, like just not clicked up on something. Right. That's gonna sound off beat. Watch. It just came out kind of out of nowhere. You want to make sure everything's timed right so that everything happens when it's supposed to. So the easiest way to kind of start in the beginning is to kind of keep your melodies pretty simple. So I usually will have my snap, which is this right here, snap to grid. You can have it set to main. Like once you start kind of getting really advanced, you can start playing with these because this will start chopping up your 808 rolls or like hi-hat rolls and things like that. But for the time being, just make it simple for you and keep it on main. That way it just snaps perfectly into place and you'll know if something's out of time. Okay. So after I make like, I have a chord, I'll just try to figure out a melody from there and just kind of play with it. So I'm just make up something quick that I know will work. So usually what I do is I'll make a chord and then I kind of take it apart. You don't have to do this, but you can. So like I'll just take these parts out, and let's say I just move it up an octave. So it's still the same, technically the same chord, the same melody, but it's going to sound different because I moved some stuff. And then let's just say I move this same chord over here, but I move it down to C4.
If you would have saw the first time I tried to do this myself,
It didn't
it
work
was
out.
like a ladder.
That's
Like,
all
it was
right.
just like.
You just gotta know what you're doing. So like this is for a 4-bar loop, right?
Okay.
So I'm gonna just keep this simple melody. It's really simple, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's easiest to make all your beats in an 8-bar loop because it's gonna make it easier for you to count the bars and make sure when you set it up to lay it out, it's gonna all make sense. So like typically when people do those 4-bar loops, that's when they start messing up. That's when you notice a song has like a hook, then a verse, and a hook, and then but it seems like you can't really tell where the hook and the verse end and start. Have you ever seen somebody record and like I can't like it's like they could try to put the hook back where it should have gone, where they thought it was supposed to go in their head, but it didn't line up right. It's because the producer really didn't do their part right. They didn't structure the beat out like properly.
Okay.
So that's the first step. Like, make this first melody. So we'll just kind of roll with this. It'll just be a simple melody. So that's one sound, and then you'll want to like clone it or. Fucking that could not be found. This is the series. Oh yeah. All right. That's why I don't use that. Yeah. So I need to actually place and then just put it back in there again. So after I make a melody, right, usually what I like to do is I'll go and take something like a soft pad and I'll explain it to you why in a second. I'm gonna just use the one I know I like. So I'll take a pad, right, and I'll copy this melody. Let's go to edit, copy, and then I'll put it, edit, paste it into here, right? So this second melody has the same as that, right? But it sounds different because it's a different sound. So what I would do from here sometimes is like, say I wanted to use the first sound I made and I still want to use this too, I might just kind of tweak this a little bit. So like, if you stretch these out, it's going to make the sound last longer, right? So sometimes with pads, I like to have them as background noises, like a background type of sound. And so let me shorten these up. You also don't want it to go past like 8 bars. If you go past 8 bars, it's going to mess up the loop. Okay. So like if I did have this too long, it's going to do this. So usually what I do is I copy the first sound and I'll put it back there again with a different type of sound or a pad or something like that. And I usually have it like in the background, like it's a background noise. So like these two sounds are going to end up playing the whole entire time together. So this is pretty much the base of my, yeah. And then at this point, this is where I start kind of making the beat because you have enough where it's like, if somebody was rapping, this is the part, these are the two sounds that they're going to hear throughout the verse because you're going to take other parts out and different parts, right? So at this point, I usually will go through and get like, I'll go ahead and throw a hi-hat in there. I actually like this one. I'll throw a hi-hat in there, right? And then I'll right-click it and I'll build two steps. And it just makes it easier for you. And what you want to do is hit that button so it keeps looping. So you're hit that. That's going to make it continuing to loop that 8 bar. And then so I add a hi-hat in there, and then I'll add a clap, just so I can just hit the basic beat. You know what I'm saying? So at this point, like pretty much almost have to be. Somebody can start rapping on it and kind of like start catching the vibes. Yeah. So, so the reason why you can see those keys in the back is because I have my consultation. So that will help you out and throughout. So the reason you want to do that is so you can see what keys you've already used, to make sure all your everything stays in the right key. So like even down to your instruments like your clap, people think that I can just throw it anywhere. No, you need to have your clapping key as well.
Right.
It can sound slightly off. Yeah, it happens. It happens. So what you'd want to do is hit this arrow, and then I would think it's under tools. All right, it's actually under helpers. Yeah, helpers, and then ghost channels.
Okay.
So you don't have another channel to be able to see it, but if you clone it, you'll be able to see those keys right there, right?
Okay.
So, and then once I have these 4 sounds, I'll go ahead and throw in the 808 pattern, right? So I'll grab an 808 from out of here. Kind of see which one I like. I'll just go to the one that I know always works. Everybody uses. So I'll get something like this, right? And a good way to do your 808 patterns is to follow your keys. So you'd want to make sure you're using these same keys, and then you kind of want to follow your root note. So like your bass, as far as like where every note kind of starts, is always like C5. This is like your start. You know what I'm saying? Like that one there is your start. So everything's going to start from one of these 2 keys. It doesn't always have to. It just depends on what key you're in, right? So if you want to make sure everything's at the right velocity, start in that area. So like you wouldn't want to be up here at C7 and then trying to use an 808, because you see it sounds totally different than if I'm down here at this octave. That's where the natural sound, like I guess that's how they FL has set it up, to where it's like that's where you want to start off as far as your bass. So usually what I'll do is I'll go in here and like, all right, so I use this key, I'll throw that in there, and then you want to follow kind of your bass line. So like your bass keys are the ones that's like your bottom keys, right? So if you want to hear like a drop in the 808, you'd want to do something like this. But that's a little bit too low of an octave. You see how it's kind of flat?
Yeah.
You want to find you one that's still in key, but not as low as that. So usually I'll just throw 808 pattern together. Notice how that wasn't quite on time? Alright, we'll just run with that for right now. What I like to do is sometimes with like my 808 patterns or different stuff, I like to change the second half of the 808. So I might throw a little extra stuff in there. This half is a little bit different than that half, but it's still close enough to where it all sound the same. But it just gives it a little bit of variation so it doesn't sound repetitive. One thing with your 808s, it took me forever for this. When you click on your 808s, what you'll want to do is, or right click them and always click cut itself. If you don't, it's going to like when one 808 plays and then the next one plays, if the first one's still making a sound, it's like they bump into each other. Okay. But if you cut itself, as soon as one ends, or as soon as if you play one and then the second one starts, this one completely stops. So like I'll show you what I'm talking about so you can hear it. And let's solo it. Probably can't tell, but those 808s are running into each other. But if I do this, it'll stop the second one when the first one's playing. It's harder to tell on that one, but you can always tell on this one. You'll be able to tell. It'll sound like they're literally bumping together.
Okay, so see, that's how I was wondering how you could add more sounds too.
How to add more sound?
You just drag
Drag
it
and drop.
underneath. Okay.
Yeah, so like I just wanted this one, so I clicked it.
And
I just
added it.
yep.
Okay, perfect.
You can actually do that with your VSTs too, if I'm not mistaken. But I just always replace our insert or whatever it is. So yeah, if you don't cut this, it's gonna sound like this. You hear how they sound together? But then if I do this, see what I'm saying?
Let it go, yeah.
So usually when I have like at this point, because this is pretty much like a beat, it's only got 5 sounds, right? So what I would do at this point is just, I've already got enough instruments to know like, all right, the sounds that I got, they make a beat. Everything that I got right here, at this point, like if I was making the beat, I'd probably kind of like fake freestyle, kind of like, okay, I can make a song to it. I don't rap at all. If I can do it, I know an artist can, right? So if you can do it on your own stuff and you're like, okay, that sounds kind of catchy, that's kind of straight, then you know you're moving in the right direction. So after I get to about this point, have 2 melodies, right, that kind of go together, a hi-hat, clap, and 808 pattern. I just go ahead and start inserting the extra stuff. So all you need at this point is 2 different sounds at the very least to kind of like change up the variation of the beat, and then just throw in a couple extra instruments. So what I'll do here is I'll insert another VST. So I'll use something like, I like Purity too. So we'll use Purity and presets. I'm gonna use the one that I always use. It is Fast Synth. It is that one. I'll just throw that in there. Piano roll. And let's just make a melody. I'm really not even like making up, no, like yeah, like I'm just throwing stuff together, really.
Right.
So I'll just throw that in there. But did you notice how like I use all the same melodies or all the same keys I've already used?
Right.
That means all my melodies are gonna stay in key. Nothing's gonna sound
that makes a lot of sense.
right. So I got 3 melodies now. So then let's throw one more in there. Insert. We're gonna do. I'll use electro. Something right there. And then let's throw in.
See, this is all the other stuff that I need to understand too.
Yeah, so these are like these are different VSTs that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
They're like you can buy them like individually, but it's gonna be expensive as shit. But you can also there's people that's on like Instagram that sell these programs for the low or put your whole pack together. That's how I got mine. But I will say it comes with like its pros and its cons. You pay for them, you'll never have a problem, never have an issue, but you're gonna pay an arm and a leg, like literally.
Right.
Like one VST really could cost you $3, $4, $5, $6, $7, $8, $900 easy.
Damn.
Just one. Or you can go and get somebody else that has all these programs already downloaded and they kept the download files and they download it onto your computer. However, sometimes they don't always work at 100%. Like for the most part, they work fine, but it could be that you update your computer and then it's one of them, yeah, and they stop working. But it's so much cheaper to actually get somebody to do that for you. Like, all right, if I get to use it for a whole 2 years, 3 years straight and it don't mess up and then one day it updates and it messes up, I ain't too butthurt about it.
Right.
But
that makes sense.
Yeah, it just kind of depends. So I'll throw in like another ARP. So I'm gonna do well, I'll do a lead so you can see lead actually. I don't do these a whole lot in my beats anymore, but I'm gonna do one so you can actually hear it. But you're not trying to cooperate. There we go.
See, and you don't have to mess with any of those.
You can, but like I just don't like. So if messing with those knobs, all that's really gonna do is like shit. You're gonna be able to edit the actual sound itself. Yeah, I just don't fool with all that.
Right.
It's that's even too advanced for me.
Yeah,
To be honest
detailed,
with you. Yeah, I don't know. Let's use this for now. So like I said, like a lead is like a long planned sound, right? So it plays as long as that plays, as long as that note is. I still haven't added any like other instruments. So like at this point, I'll probably add stuff like I'll go in my drum kit and I'd add something like I add this sound all the time. Boom, and then I'll add something like I'll add these two snares in here. I gotta look at it different because 12 or 11 looks different than FL20. And just learning where everything goes, like to make the sound, make it sound the way that you want it to sound. Like that's why I'm just able to just get in there, click on it, and do it better. So once you learn, like every time I want to make this sound, it doesn't matter what beat you do or how you do it. It's this always going to be right there. Mm-hmm. If you want that sound to sound like that, it's always going to be right there. It's going to be that amount of gapping, and it's going to be on this line every single time. Okay. If you want it in the proper space. So like when you're listening to a song and you hear these two sounds, then that's that they put it in the same spot every single time. Like you could theoretically move it here, right? It still sounds the exact same. You see what I'm saying? It doesn't matter where you place it. It's just as long as you know where it is. Like it wouldn't make sense to put it here though, and you'll hear why. It sounds off. You see what I'm saying? It doesn't. It's like you can put it on these points here, maybe even here, on these points because when you're rapping, you gotta think like even though it may sound like I don't know how to put it in words. So like when somebody's rapping, it needs to be even numbers. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense? So like you wouldn't want because if you make a beat and let's say you only did a 3-bar loop, so you only did these 3 right here and filled it up, it's gonna make that person rap off beat because it's either when they start counting the bars and they're writing, you don't write a 3-bar verse. Right. You're gonna write a 4-bar verse. Okay. And you don't write a 6-bar verse because if you put 2 3s beside each other, that's a 6. So that means he's gonna be writing. He's gonna get to bar 4 and be like, okay, that part made sense, and then he's only gonna have 2 more bars to say something. 2 more bars is gonna be like 2 seconds. 2 seconds. Yeah, how are you gonna? You're not gonna be able to get something that's gonna make sense for the first 4 bars and 2 bars in 2 seconds. You see what I'm saying? Right. So it's about knowing like how to count the bars, how to lay out a beat, and I'll show you that too. That's why it's easiest to do it in an 8-bar loop because you're not gonna mess up your count. Because when a rapper is rapping, their hooks are generally 16 bars. If you already have an 8-bar loop, you're just putting 2 little squares back to each other. Most verses are anywhere from 24 to 32 bars. All that is just 3 of the patterns that I make, but it's an even number of bars that they're rapping, 24. They're not going to be caught to where it's like, yeah, at 23 or like 21 and be like, dang, I need a couple more. Can you stretch the beat out? Can you get it? Because sometimes artists don't know how to explain what they're saying, but they can just tell, I'm trying to fit these couple little last words in here, but I don't have enough space. Can you reloop the beat or stretch it out or whatever? But they don't realize what really happened was the producer messed up on laying it out. He didn't give them enough space.
Okay.
So.
Makes sense.
So like you want to have your sounds kind of like play off of each other. So like watch this. So these are all my instruments, right? So even like just with no melodies, they all it sounds like it's supposed to go together, right? So like when I have 2 snares on there, these snares sound different. So this one sounds like a card type of different snare. I don't really know how to explain it. So like I know when I play this beat, when the snare plays, on the first one it's gonna be there's one right here, right? Because I have it right there, and then there's gonna be 2 right here. So what I like to do is like make them play off of each other. So I might put one here. Oh well, this guy gotta take it off from me. Hang on. So now listen to how it's gonna sound like how they work together. You see what I'm saying? And so like I don't have anything here, so I like to do something like this. Oops. You see what I'm saying? Like they all kind of like when one instrument isn't playing, another one is, and when another instrument is playing, the other one's not. I like to do that in my beats because I think it gives it a little uniqueness, and it sounds like the beats kind of playing back and forth with each other, kind of like a game of tennis. Oops. Oh yeah, I forgot that does that. 11 does that. So really, to be honest with you, at this point, like I would call it done. To be real, I might go in here and kind of chop up these hi-hats a little bit, so like it has a little bit of a roll, so like it just doesn't sound all the way through. You ever notice the baby's beats always have like the hi-hats don't change at all?
That's why a lot of his music sounds the same. To me, it does.
But his sound is the same because he gets his beats from the same producer, and that producer makes all his instruments. Because I can hear it and tell everything past like this point, like these 3. That's what he actually changes. He actually does stuff with that. But this stuff here, he keeps it all the same. He like drags and drops, or either he uses loops. I can tell, but so like. You can tell it's a loop because the beat sounds way too repetitive and all the way through. Like if you notice in my beats, like you'll hear at a certain point two sounds and 2 melodies 100% come out. Whereas if you notice on like the beats that he picks, it's like nothing changes. You might just hear like drops in the beat. 808 stops playing for a second. It's because everything else that's melody made is a loop. So he didn't make those melodies. The producer, he may have messed with this, and maybe every now and then he actually does go in here and do this. But you can tell that it's all a loop, basically kind of like a sample. You see what I'm saying? And you can tell. Crazy. But I mean, you can knock out beats in like 5 minutes, I guess. So I mean, I guess it's worth it to me. Right. But I don't know. I'd rather kind of put hands on it and touch it. Yeah, it's kind of like the best example that I can give you as far as how loops go. It'd be like if I showed you a guy that had went to the gym, worked out, got in shape. That's the person that actually sits here and makes the beats like how I'm doing. And the guy that makes the loops is the guy that he woke up and was already in shape. You see what I'm saying? It's like ready-made. Personally, I don't like that. But yeah, so I'll go in here and like mess with these hi-hats. So I'll add a couple rolls in here. So like I might do something like this right here. Let me turn the 808 off so I can hear it pretty good. So I might do something like this and throw some rolls in there. little simple hi-hat pattern. Usually I go a little bit more in depth in everything that I'm showing you, but like I just want you to be able to like, yeah, like just something as basic as possible. And even some of this stuff I feel like maybe pretty advanced, but at least being able to see it, watch from start to finish, like somebody that knows how to make a beat, like I'm sure you're picking up on some, you know what I mean?
Oh, for sure, yeah.
So this is pretty much a done deal for me as far as beats go. Have you ever like done anything with the mixing or anything like that?
Nope.
That part's pretty easy. So like, yes, FL11. So FL11, what you want to do is highlight all of these like that. You just click and drag, or you can just click on one and then click it again, and it highlights all of them.
Okay.
And then what you'd want to do when they're all highlighted, you want to go to Insert One, and on your Traxer mixer right here, the track mixer, you'd right click on the first one, and then you'd want to click link selected channels, and then click starting from this track. If you click to this track, all of them are going to be on one track. I'm going to do starting from this track, so then it puts them all individually on one. So then you'll be able to see where everything is. So like,
and that was, what was that?
This is the mixer. So the mixer is up here.
Okay.
It looks like a little levels button. So
Gotcha.
You ever seen like people literally playing with mixers and shit like that? Like think of that when you see that, right?
Okay.
So you'd want to start off with like your first melody, right? So what I like to do is, this is what I used to do on FL11. I would individually mix each sound. So what you'd want to do is get one of these sounds and you'll hit this little down arrow. Now these are going to pull up the same VSTs you already have, but this is where you're going to start using the other VSTs. The ones that I was showing you were ones that you used to make sounds, right?
Okay.
Now you want to start using the ones that's going to kind of edit your sound. So you might see VSTs here that you don't see anywhere else.
Okay.
So the one that I always use in this stock FL Studio program, you have it too, and it works the best. Everybody uses it. It's Parametric EQ2, right? So when you pull that up, you see how it shows you all the waveforms of it. So you want to think of this as like a frequency field, right? And let's pretend your whole beat, when your whole beat is playing, you'll be able to see where all the frequencies are, right? So when you want to kind of highlight the areas where your frequencies at. Like most of your sound is coming from this frequency band area right here, right? But this also gets some from the bass. You don't need bass in the bass is also going to take up the space where your 808 is, right? So if you've got bass coming from your melodies, you got bass from the 808, it's going to sound really clustered up. So if you want to have it sound crisp and sound separate, you want to think of it like a triple deck cake, right? So like the top part is your hi-hats and stuff, like the hard sharp sounds, so your clap, the hi-hat, that snare and everything, that's the top part. Then your middle is basically like your meat, like your melodies, right? And then up under that you have your 808s. But you know there's like literally like a different layer for each one, and then like if it was a cake, you have ices in the middle, so it's the separation. You want to have that separation. So to separate it, you're gonna have to take out the bands that are unnecessary. So like you don't need any bass to hear the beat. Right. So like, and you don't need any treble over here either, because you're not really taking a lot of sound from that area. And you want to think of it like, all right, so if this was the whole entire all the sounds playing, I don't want anything my 808 is going to sit here, my melodies and everything's going to sit in this area, and then my hi-hats and everything else is going to sit in this area. So since we're focusing on the melodies right now, you don't need anything from the treble area, and you can kind of play with it, because if you take too much out, it completely changes the sound. But if you have it all the way, you hear kind of like the hard twinkles. You don't necessarily want that. You can kind of shave some of it off. So I shaved off the bass. I shaved off the treble on the right. But you'll go to you want to go through each one of these melodies and do that, right? And then you do the same thing for your hi-hats. I'm not gonna go through each one because it's all anyway. So you're on your hi-hats, right? You're gonna go and do the same thing. You go pull up your parametric EQ2. You see where it's sitting? Exactly what I was telling you, right? So then you want to cut this out. There we go. And then you see how you have like basically nothing right here. You can cut that out too, might as well. And then these bands are like, these little numbers are the different frequency bands. So like, if you want to cut everything from here out, just grab the furthest band and drag it all the way. You see what I'm saying? So like, all your sound is just captured in here. And then you'll want to do that for each one of your sounds, right? No matter what it is. Yeah, that's pretty easy and straightforward. And I actually have like a YouTube video where I go through and show you how to make everything. If you watch that, it goes further in depth. And then the main thing as far as it goes with your 808s, with mixing that. So pull up your parametric EQ, you see it's in the bass area. That means you don't need none of this up front. Because all it's going to do is just cause unnecessary sounds. It's going to sound muddy and muffled. Because it has a little bit of sound here, but not enough to make a difference. So if you have a little bit of 808 sound in your melody, and a little bit of 808 sound in your hi-hats, and then a little bit of hi-hats in your bass, and a little bit of hi-hats in your melody, and a little bit of melody, you know what I'm saying? Like it gets too muddy. You got to separate it. And so you can actually play with these bands too. Go ahead. Right. So so like over here, what I'm doing is like, if you notice, you see these little symbols right there. You see how these are like one dot like that. So like that makes it a square. So like if you take your scrolling wheel right here, and then you scroll, it'll change the actual shape. So now it's 3. So now it's not as sharp of a cut. And then if you do 2, you see how it changed. But then when you go all the way to 4, it's a hard cut. It's gonna cut all this out because you don't need any of that. Like you could use some of this because sometimes, you know what I'm saying. But depending on how your 808 sounds, it kind of depends on how you want to do it. So like another thing is, if you notice this line right here is really thick, that means there's a lot of sound there. Same with this line right here and then this line here. So what I like to do is for my 808s, if I want to boost the bass to where it has like a little bit of a rumble type of like shake to it where it's kind of hard, you can boost the bass a little bit by pulling this band up some. And then if you want to get more of a punch to it, the wider, thicker basses are going to give you more, or the wider, thicker bands are going to give you more of the actual bass. The thin ones are going to give you more of the punch because it's more concentrated sound. So you can actually boost that too, and then you can actually tighten it by using the scrolling wheel and like pinch it. You see how it pinched up? And you can hear the punch more. You don't want it that tight of a pinch, but I just wanted to show you that. And you don't want to boost it that much, but like just give it a little pinch, and you see how like both of these little pink lines are falling right in the middle of that. It's going to hit a little bit harder, and it's going to have a little bit more bass because I boosted the bass too. Now you don't want to go too extreme, but like do it what sounds good to you within reason, because there's no real right or wrong way. It's not like you guys sit here, oh, it only can go up 2 decibels, it can only go down this. You do what makes it sound right. So that's how you basically mix it. So like your basic mix on your melodies, just make sure you're capturing the melodies. Basic mix on your instruments, capture just the instruments. Same thing for 808s, so that's going to separate it. Another little trick you can do is just called stereo separation. So you want to think of like the melodies and your hi-hats and all your other stuff that's not bass related. It's like this fist, right? And then you want to think of your 808s as this fist. You want them to be separated. So like rather than being conjoined like this, all one muddy sound, you want it to literally be like 2 separate sounds that are playing at the same time. Separated, there's this little knob. I think it's this one right here. No, that's the pan. 11. I actually think I gotta change the view of this. Stretch this out to. What is that play? Because I actually gotta change the view of this. Picture track. How do I actually do that? I can't remember. Oh, view. There we go. No, that's just not changing. Plug-in delay. There's a way that you can actually change the view of this, but there's a knob on here that you can do the stereo separation. That's going to do that. What is this one? Oh, that is a stereo separation. It just looks different. You see how it says 100% separated? Mm-hmm. It's separated like my 808 from my melody, so that they sound separated, but they play at the same time and everything. But it's just like literally the 808 Yeah, you'll hear them a little bit more in depth. So then also too, you want to make sure you watch your volumes and everything. So if you notice everything is kind of orangey right there, it's orangey up here, that's too much. So I can turn this volume down a little bit since I boosted some of the stuff. That will overall change that a little bit. But you don't want anything peaking, so you want to keep this at a certain level. You don't want it to be extreme as far as like red. Like orange is kind of okay, but that's a little bit too much. You want to kind of keep everything yellow or green. That way nothing's too loud. And then you want to kind of, at this point, you just kind of really keep your volume and your level. So after you mix everything and all of that, you kind of want to play with down with this melody or this sound to be a little loud because it's too loud. You want to kind of play with the level so everything sounds right. So I kind of already do that while I'm making the beat over here on this side. That's why I don't necessarily do it right here. So now that this whole beat is made, we'll call it mix. I can mix every single one, just each one. What I would do at this point is go to the pattern layout thing. Pattern. You go here, right, and then you'd want to go to song mode so that this plays. Because right now we're in pattern mode. So if we're in pattern mode, it's just only going to play what's playing right here. You go to song mode, it's going to play whatever you put over here. So what you want to do is, how do I do it? Everything? I do not remember everything on here. You want to split all these sounds up. How do I actually do that? Totally forgotten how to do it. Boom. Oh yeah, wait a minute. I remember now. You actually click right here and then you hit. Oops. I totally forgot. Damn, I cannot think right now. And this looks totally different than 12. How do I split these channels up? I cannot believe I forgot that. Dang. We might have to hop on Google real quick. Because normally I would do that and then. Oh, wait a minute. There's a split by channels button. Yeah, let me hop on Google because I cannot remember. I'm having a brain fart right now. How to split by channel.
Channel rack. Same thing.
Yeah. How to separate patterns in FL Studio 11.
Hey, what up, gang? Create beats with interesting culture collective. Got a quick tutorial here. FL20.
Let's see.
Hey, what up, gang?
Oh, you watching the same one?
Yeah.
Alright, yeah, that's right. Yeah, see, that's in 12. That's how I know how to do it in 12.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
that's in 12. I can't believe I can't remember that.
What's up, everybody? So if you're like, I'm sure you guys that, instead of individually each copy and pasting, like cut, put it to a new channel, there's a one-step, simple click
Yeah, that's the one I want.
just split them all at once. And I'm gonna show you right now. Go right here, take your little pattern box,
Yeah.
click the arrow.
Oh yeah, that's right. Split by channel.
Split by channel. Just click.
I could not remember that. All right, so
you were right. You were just in the.
I was on the wrong spot. Yeah, I was over here with it. So you hit down right here, and then you'll hit split by channel.
Okay.
And then now what that's going to do is you click over here, and it shows you each one of them individually.
That we've already made.
Right. So this was the first melody I made, and then you'll click to the second one.
Okay.
And then third.
And now you're just putting in like song mode.
Yeah. So this is in song mode, right? So what I'm going to do is lay these patterns out, right? Yeah, 12 got it to where you can do it way faster. I miss 11 though. 11, I don't know. There's something about 11 that's nostalgia. I like 11 quite a bit. 12 just has a lot easier shortcuts. So, all right. So this, notice this 1 to 8. It's an 8-bar loop, right? So what I like to do is I hit Control C to copy it, and then or yeah, Control C, and then I'll click Control B, and it pastes it. And usually what I do is I paste all the way to 48 bars, and I'll show you why. This is the easiest way to make sure you laid your pattern out. So I laid out the 48 bars. You already know your intros anywhere from like 8 to 16 bars. So let's just say we have an 8-bar intro. And then let's say your hook starts here, right? So you want something like this. You have a hook. Yeah. Oh wait, some of these ain't playing because they're on mute. There we go. So this would be like the hook right here. This is where somebody's singing their hook, right? And then this is going to be where I was telling you about verses. Like this is why I do go copy it all the way to the beginning. This is your hook, right? And then this is going to be the artist verse. I like to take some of the instruments out so it doesn't sound repetitive. Yeah, little things like that. So this is where he's starting to rap his verse, usually with the hook. And then another sound can be so shut because the sound is maintained, and this is where melodies going. No, so the hook is this is where, well, I mean, I guess it's technically good because you can have like a 2-bar verse. But I like to have my verse. So usually from here, what I'll do is make a bridge. So the bridge is going to bridge into one transition to another. Right? So this is why I do the 48-bar loop. So this is going to cover me for the verse. Here goes the hook and the intro. If you do 48-bar loop, right? So if you did you have it stretched out here to 48 bars. You delete whichever ones you want to. Remember, this is your hook. That's the verse right there, and this is 24 bars right here, right? So if you want the artist to rap for 24 bars, then you can just throw the hook back in right here. If you want them to rap for 32 bars, you can add a bridge, or either like you continue on with this and just add other instruments. So at this point, what I would do is copy and paste again. So some producers will do like this. They'll make this loop and literally just copy this whole entire thing like that.
And that's it.
That's it. Because this will be your bridge, right? This is your hook, right? Here's your verse. And so that's pretty much it. That's about it. But I usually like to do mine like this. I like to have mine where it's like it's got a bridge. Oh yeah, I forgot to do that other thing. So one other little trick too is to kind of keep it organized. If you right click this and then you click lock to content, like it won't yeah, like you can only click that particular sound that's locked to this grid. So like if I'm clicking on this and I click down here, you see how it pops up? If I click on this and then I want to add something here, the only thing that's going to allow me to add it here is this. You see what I'm saying? Because I had a bad habit of not realizing that, and I realized, okay, I done clicked on this once and then click down here and I have a duplicate of it, and now it sounds weird. So you'd want to right click, lock to content, lock to content, lock to content, lock to content. So as long as you have a version of one of these sounds up, you can just click here and add the clap, and click here and add your snare, and it doesn't get mixed up. You see what I'm saying? So what I like to do is throw in all my melodies on the bridge. The reason being is because when it bridges from playing all the melodies straight into the hook that has all the melodies, it sounds a little more natural. This would be like somebody finishing up. He's finishing his verse, and whatever he's going to say, and then this is where pull up my mixer. All right, well, you don't have to do that on 112. 11 actually has a shortcut here. Create animation clip. And so now this will make my volume fade out. That's it. That's a beat from start to finish. But just like I told you in the beginning, those first two melodies, that's them right there. You see what I'm saying? And then the hi-hat right here. The clap that we added right here. And then the 808 pattern. Those are the first four melodies that we ended up with. And all we did was just add two more and a couple of instruments to be able to change it up, make some variation. But it's not as complex as people think, or like we'll look at it and see. And even with everything that I'm just showing you, that's way more than what most people do. So like if I were to show you like those YouTube videos where people are doing type beats and stuff, they don't even go and do all this. Like for example, I was watching this one guy's type beats.
There's only one place to buy your.
Yeah. This guy. Let me see if I can find his name. His name is like Christ. Yeah, this guy. He makes Yeet videos. But like if you look at his arrangement and his setup, he's got the same type of setup. But if you notice his melodies right here, there's no variation. It's just very repetitive. Even it's all even down to here. There's only variation right here and here, which is probably where his hooks and verses are. So like this is probably a verse. This is probably a hook right here. This is the verse. This is probably another little hook or another little bridge. And then he probably has, but I can already look at this and tell that he doesn't have it. He's got his organized really weird. So like how I was telling you about the 4-bar loop thing, you see how he has, this one says 1 and then the 9 starts there? That means that's the 8-bar loop, right? Oh shit, what the fuck? My shit just got dark for a second. That was weird. I don't know what that, but anyway. But if you notice that's like a little 9-bar loop. But you see he's got this one right here that's small. That's a short loop. That's not an 8-bar loop. So like me looking at this, I can't tell which part is the hook and which part is the verse. You'd only know by playing it and then hearing the song necessarily. You know what I'm saying? Whereas on mine, and that's a good beat. I actually like that song and the beat. But if you notice on mine, like you can tell, oh yeah, this is 100% the hook.
Yeah.
Because everything plays there. And it's no right or wrong way. He didn't do anything wrong or anything, and I didn't do like anything right or anything like that. It's just a different way of doing stuff. Because I mean, you hear his beat's gonna sound hard. It's gonna have a hook. It's gonna have a verse. It's gonna have all those elements and everything that you need in there as well. It's just like I say, people make things different, do their whole little setup differently. So it just really depends. But I just noticed a lot of these songs and these beats are really repetitive. And it's because there's no variation. They don't take the time to go in here and do all of that.
Right.
Like kind of play with it. So, but it's no right or wrong way. It's not like you got to do that or by any means at all for whatsoever. But that's just kind of like the basics. You got any questions? Anything that you kind of want to know?
No. I probably will as I go, but it's just doing it.
Yeah.
And I knew that when I started, but it was just understanding all that shit.
Right.
Actually seeing it too.
Yeah, it's kind of. I'm trying to remember and think back to when I had first started. Like what really helped me because just like I didn't have how you have me. I didn't have me.
Right.
I didn't have nobody to even sit down with me. Like I had that after about a year of doing it. Yeah. So I had already developed habits and shit like that. It was a guy that went to college with that he actually sat down and kind of showed me some stuff. Well, by the time we sat down and you showed me some stuff, I had already played with it so much by myself. I kind of already had an idea.
Yeah, so some of the stuff that you did, I played with, but like the way that you made it consistent and you made it sound like that makes more sense now. Because I hope God, my shit was all over the place.
You just gotta know what you're using,
and I just swear it sounded good too.
You just gotta know what you're using, how to use it.
Yeah. And I think with you said that they're called VSTs. I was following all of your videos, especially the long one where you make the beat from start to finish. I was pulling them up. I was like, oh my god, this is fucking fun. Like, I don't even know what this is. So now it makes a lot more sense to see you use it and what it actually is for.
Yeah, that's pretty much That's pretty much it, really, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and I'm gonna learn. I'm gonna look up some videos of shortcuts too.
Yeah, check out the shortcuts.
You got one too, right? You got
Yeah.
videos of.
On shortcuts.
Mm-hmm.
No, because I don't know all the shortcuts. I just know a handful of them, the ones that kind of make sense. But I guess I could make a video and talk about the shortcuts I do know. That probably would be a good idea. I'll probably go ahead and do that. And then learn your shortcuts, learn the basics of mixing, which I do have one of that, and then just kind of how to piece it all together.
Right.
Because after a while, you'll be able to just kind of hear it and just pay attention to the music you listen to as well.
Yeah, I
You
do
know what
all
I'm
the
saying?
time.
Like,
That's why I wanted to start because when I listen to music, the beat is the first thing that catches my attention.
You're right.
It's not the music. Now, if the lyrics just match perfect, then obviously
awesome, great.
But,
but
I'm definitely for a beat before I listen to the lyrics.
Well, see, the beat makes the song like. Like a lot of people just don't realize that it's the beat, and then all you have to do is just make something catchy enough on that beat. That's it. Like if you notice, every song that's a hit is nothing more than a really good beat and a catchy hook, and then it's got something in the verse that everybody can rap when that part pops up in the middle of a club.
That's true.
You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
Think about when you're in the club. When you're standing outside the club, all you hear is the bass and the 808s, and you're like, "Oh, that shit sound hard. It sounds like you're having a good ass time in there." Then you get inside, and you're like, "Oh, that's my shit. Like I'm a gorilla in the fucking zoo." You know what I'm saying?
Same thing. Yeah, that's just like the "Who Won't Smoke with Us" that song. Right. That one's got a lot of especially the hook on that one.
Just have a good beat, a catchy hook, and it's something in both verses. Like if it's a song with two verses, something in both of those verses where when it drops, people can just mute the song, and then everybody yell out the lyrics, and they drop the beat again. Yeah. I'm telling you, that's a guaranteed hit.
That makes sense. Yeah, that's crazy.
They make a cool video.
Yeah, right.
You're going viral.
That's crazy.
I've seen it happen enough times to know that's the combination.
Yeah. So now you're just like doing. You're still obviously making beats, but.
Yeah, I make beats, but I only make beats because I make YouTube videos.
Right.
I don't even try to sit in the artist anymore.
Why not? Just other things you want to do?
Yeah.
I feel it.
Like other things I want to do, other things I enjoy to do. Like I enjoy doing this, but really the only reason I enjoy doing this is because I enjoy working with people and I like teaching somebody something.
Yeah.
Definitely. I like being useful, number one, and then I like watching somebody take something that I showed them, they take it and do their own thing with it, and then I get to see how they do their thing. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
how they progress it.
That's just like me when I coach basketball and volleyball.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just watching them apply the skills that we taught them.
Exactly. Right.
And then even as a ref, because I ref too. So it's just watching those kids just grow year by year by year. Exactly. Even if you didn't teach them something, it's just
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I still do it. If it wasn't for me actually wanting to do that, I at this point I don't have a need to make beats because I've already accomplished the things that I wanted to do with music and whatnot. And I never thought I would when I started making beats, I never thought that I would actually get to work with the artists I actually listen to and still listen to this day. Right. But it's because I made it that far and had no expectations other than I literally started making beats because I'd be sitting on the back porch with my friends and they'd be freestyling the beats and I didn't know how to freestyle, so I said, well shit, I'll just learn how to make the beats.
Yep, that's exactly why I'm starting too.
Yeah, I can't freestyle.
My homeboy can freestyle like fuck.
Really?
Yeah, and it's just he doesn't. You have to have money to push artists.
Mm-hmm. You do. It takes some bread now.
Yeah, so I'm kind of like where you are. I want to do this to help them.
Yeah.
Because he has the talent, it's there.
Right.
And I don't know if I told you, we went down to Houston and produced some of his music.
Oh, okay.
But they were just little covers of beats that, of course, are already out. But yeah, I mean, one beat that he had looked up was $500.
Really?
I was like, God, no. Yeah, I was like, if I can learn how to do it, fuck it, you can freestyle on anything I made.
a shit ton of money off of
Right.
beats. Like, and back in the day, like back in early 2000s, like well before this internet age of producing people, like producers were getting like bands on bands for beats.
Yeah.
Like, but right now people will sell a beat that ends up being a hit for $25. I'm just like, that's crazy. That's insane.
Wild. Do you know the kid from, I think they're from Rock Hill, but kind of York, Rock Hill area. Young Icy?
Yeah, I know. I see.
Yeah, he made the hit. Well, his mom works with my mom, and she was telling my mom how he makes beats and stuff.
Really? Yeah, I know. I see. Well,
It took. See, my mom didn't really. She just thinks it's like something. She didn't understand it.
yeah, most people don't. People don't
Yeah.
realize how it works.
Right.
The reason most people don't understand how it works is because the producer is typically in the background. But you got to think. Okay, so we'll take Icy for example. Icy and I have both worked with like a lot of the exact same artists essentially, right?
Yeah.
He's worked with his biggest placement right now, to my knowledge at least, is Future, the
Right.
Future
Of
one, right?
course. Yeah.
Think about how big Future is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like wouldn't you think theoretically if that's Future, if shouldn't Icy be like on that exact same level or similar if they're working together? Yeah. It'd be like, let's say, okay, you said basketball, you coach basketball. Imagine watching the WNBA, right? And you got one professional basketball female basketball player and another professional female basketball player on the exact same team, but you don't even know that other one exists. They're both professionals. You
that
see what I'm
makes
saying?
sense. Yeah. Yeah. No, 100%. Because I would have never known that he made that.
Yeah, it's because the producer does not get as much credit or accolades, and it's done not it's done on purpose, but it's hidden like for with a good reason. So like it's like, well, why do you need to like necessarily know the producer? Or that's not important because we're the label, we're the company, we're pushing the artist, right? We're about the artist, so more so than anything else. So because this artist is what's blowing up, not the producer, right? But if you think about it,
Right.
the producer it has more shelf life than the artist.
100%.
There's producers still in the game from early 2000s, from the late 90s, still making music, and people like you just may not know their name.
You would know, yeah. That's true.
Like what's Scott Storch? He's an older guy. He's like my dad's age. He's like in his 50s.
Oh really?
Yeah,
He still does it?
Right, he still does it, but he makes a lot of Travis Scott's beats.
Damn.
A 50-some-odd-year-old man.
That's
Think about
right.
Travis. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Think a lot of his music is made by a lot of his music is made by a 50-year-old dude, 55, 50 something.
Mm. Yeah.
There's such thing as ghost producers.
Mm-hmm.
I know a ghost producer.
Shit, I was just at a country concert this weekend, and Morgan Wallen, his ghostwriter,
Really? Yeah.
performed there.
So you know about ghostwriters.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing. People do ghost producing for a while, and I'm like, that's crazy too.
It just blows my mind. Like, I don't know.
But that happens a lot in music.
That's wow.
Like I would be highly surprised if somebody like Drake, for example, wrote every single one of those songs that he ever rapped. Right. But we all know he has it because he does have ghostwriters.
I forget his name. Didn't Minaj have a ghostwriter?
Everybody probably has.
Yeah.
You would assume, you know what I'm saying? Like everybody probably does, but the producer just doesn't get as much shine because
crazy.
It's like,
or even like the ghostwriter, like they don't get. That's fucking wild.
Yeah, it's interesting. Well, yeah, the producer just doesn't get as much attention because it doesn't make they're not the artist blowing up, but at the same time that they have more shelf life just because of that. Like they have more shelf life just because it don't matter what you look like. You don't have to. You're not a performer.
I think
what you do.
Quarterback and wide receiver or quarterback and
right.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's why I'm intrigued by beats. So that's what drew me to it, to want to do it, and then him, of course.
All right. Yep. Just stick with it. You never know. Like I said, I just started just simply because I couldn't freestyle with my friends, so I was like, shoot, I'll learn. Y'all looking up type beats on here. Y'all looking up the type beats of music that we like to listen to. I'm gonna learn to try to make these beats and just got the equipment. I did the same thing you did. Like I told you, get a computer, get you whatever program you feel comfortable with. You said you started off with a different program. What was the
It was
first
like
one?
Serato.
Serato.
Yeah.
And you tried that. You
Played
ended
a
up
little bit.
right. You ended up with FL Studio. You started with now you're learning that. So that's just all it takes. Like just getting started.
That's true. I feel like it took me forever to get that fucking computer. I just didn't know which one to get. It was like I felt like buying my car was much easier than buying my computer. Yeah.
Well, always just remember with the computer that you're gonna use for like that type of purpose. You want a lot of RAM. So RAM is like the equivalent of horsepower. Like you want a lot of horse. Like if you want to be able to do something, it don't matter what type of car it is. If it has a lot of horsepower, it can do whatever it's supposed to do really good.
That's how fast it is.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Horsepower is just how strong, how fast the car can do it. But if you have a car with a lot of horsepower, you know that shit is fast.
Right.
If you have a truck with a lot of horsepower, you know it can tow. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So RAM is like your horsepower. Think about it like that. And then you already see your programs you're gonna download FL Studio and then download other programs called VSTs into your first program that you downloaded FL Studio. So you know you're gonna need a lot of memory.
Right.
So when you see like a 500 something gigabyte laptop, that ain't worth it. 1,000, that ain't even worth it either.
Terabyte.
You need like a terabyte or more.
Yeah, so I got this one as like because you can also buy external hard drives, can't you?
Right, 100%. So that's actually this right here. Yeah. So this little thing right here, this has 1 terabyte of memory in it. Just that little thing.
Is that in Future's song where his producer got locked up or something when they were over? Is it 56 Nights? Is that the name of the song?
I have no idea. I mean, I know the song you're talking about. Yeah. But yeah, that little thing right there, that's got a terabyte of it. Terabyte of memory. That's 1,000 gigabytes.
And you put songs on that or beats on that?
I'll put most of pretty much I put my FL Studio files on that. Okay. Because those are going to take up a lot of space because they're going to accumulate quickly and I have a bunch of it. But because you're going to download a bunch of VSTs, a bunch of different programs, you're going to end up taking up a lot more space just downloading the programs you're going to use. You haven't started even saving yet. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So if that's the case, you want to have something like, realistically, you want to have like 2 terabytes, at least 2,000 gigabytes, because you don't even get a full 2,000 anyway. You're really going to get more like 1,800. You see what I'm saying? Because like because they don't tell you like the computer has to use memory to actually run itself. So like it's already using some. You're probably gonna have you probably have like 1,900 actually. You probably have like 1,900 and something. But you would want to have at least about like 1,000 to 2,000 gigabytes of memory unless you got like an external hard drive. And then just back your stuff up. You're gonna have a good bit of RAM. So like you'd want to have something like 16 gigabytes of RAM will probably be okay, but 32 or better would be really, really good.
This one is 500 gigabytes.
If you got 500 gigabytes, get you one of these.
Yeah. And I'm just thinking.
And then just pretty much save all your files on that. Okay. Because that's a external hard drive. So it's like the same thing that's in your computer already that's got 500 gigabytes on it, but just external. Right. Externally, but it's better than having a flash drive because it has a lot more memory. Yeah. And then instead of it being like you know how remember back in the day the computers that had that like hard drive with the disc in it, you could hear it spin.
It was like a floppy disk.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so this is an SSD, a solid state drive. So it doesn't have a disc. That's why it's so small like that, like the size of a credit card. Right.
Yeah, that's small. I feel like I sold one at Best Buy like a long time ago. That was
they got one.
A box.
You can get it there. Yeah, go ahead and get you one.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to. Let's see. I want to see how much memory is on this bitch.
Storage.
Oh yeah, I see. It was 500. I
Yeah.
think 580 something.
Yeah, so you have a total of 470, 475 because it's using 25%. Well, you're in total using 25 gigabytes. Some of it is from actually running the computer itself. But yeah, get you a little external hard drive and then just start saving your files on that. You can even have duplicates on your computer so that way you know, like one crash or something happens, you got backup. You can even back up your stuff to Google. Just be careful doing that because people will try to hack your computer through your Google account. People try to do that to me all the time.
No.
Yeah, people will be sending me something like, "Hey, can you do X, Y, and Z and help me out here? I'm gonna send you this email or whatever. Or can we collab? I'm gonna send you this link. Or hey, can you do add this?
So take your fucking music.
Yeah, because it'll I don't know. I guess give them access to my computer or something like that. I don't know. I just like at this point, like, what is like? I just got beats on here, FLPs. What are you gonna do? Like, if you want, if somebody wants them that bad, just keep watching the videos. You'll eventually get it.
Right.
Like you'll eventually see it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's weird. But yeah. But get you some like RAM. I don't know how much RAM this has, but you got a good computer regardless. Because I mean, I just was able to open up different programs on it. Like the fact that you can open up multiple VSTs at one time is that that's good because yeah, I remember my first computer, the Melodies, I couldn't go past like 5. If I went past 5 melodies, it would start to like get ready to crash.
Oh, shit.
I lost so many different beats from like adding just like one too many sounds.
Yeah, see, that's why I was like, I just got this so that eventually, like, if, this is a continuing thing, which I plan on it being, then I would get like a gaming computer.
This is gonna be good enough, I'm telling you.
Really? Just this?
Yeah, listen, I'm trying to tell you, my first computer, my first computer.
You've done this for a while, though, so I can only imagine.
My first computer, I still got that. Do I still have that shit? I still do. I actually have it. It's somewhere around here.
Yeah.
But it's as big as hell. It was a Dell. Um, it was it didn't get on the internet at all whatsoever. Like the internet card broke like in it, so I had to every time I made a beat, I had to save it on a flash drive or plug it into my other computer just to upload it on the SoundCloud.
Oh my god!
Just to do that, so I had to manually basically transfer every single beat, like all my stuff from one computer to the next because the internet didn't work on it. It didn't like the speakers were really low. I had to only use headphones for a while. My parents got me this little Bluetooth speaker. I call it Little Perk. And it's this big. It's about that big around. I had a little red aux cord connected to it. Yeah, and that's how I was making beats thugging. That little laptop was, I think it's at the crib actually, my parents' house. It's so like, and then how I got it, I was chilling with my boy and he was like, hey, I told him I wanted to start making beats, and he was like, "What you need to do to start it?" And I was like, "I really just need to get a computer. I don't have a computer right now. I got one for school, and I don't really use that." He's like, "Oh, what kind of computer?" I said, "I gotta get a Windows so I can use this program called FL Studio." He's like, "Oh, okay, bet." He said, "Hang on." So I was picking him up from the house, so he runs back inside, comes back out. He gives me this computer. It worked on the internet for like maybe 2 or 3 weeks, and then it just stopped. So then I'm good. So I kept on using it anyway. So download my programs, did my thing, and so I asked him in the car, I was like, "How whose computer is this?" He said, "Don't worry about it, man. It's yours. You can have it." And so we just keep on riding. Lo and behold, like he later tell me that he was. I picked up. I thought to myself, I was like, I'm picking him up from this girl's crib. I think he just stole this chick's computer. And I was like, hey, is this girl's computer? And he said, bro, she owes me. She don't need to use it. Don't worry about it. That's how I got that computer, bro. You feel like, and it didn't work for shit at all. But I got it like that. All those songs that everybody like asked me about, and all that shit that has gone viral, like all of that. I made it on that little shitty computer. That's why everybody that messages me always talking about, what do I need for this? What do I need for that? I'm sitting here thinking in my head,
Like,
you got enough. Like, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Just use what you got, work with it. Like, I'm telling you, you can make, like, what you have is perfect. You know what I'm saying? You have better than what I had. Like, I made all of those beats on that little computer and that little purple speaker. People still remember it. There's multiple people. It's crazy. Multiple people that was in middle school that was like heard it and have been messaging me like this year. And it's like, hey, I'm in going through college and whatnot.
Oh my god.
That, like, I'm telling you, that was crazy. I thought about it for a second. I was like, dang, it's been 7, 8 years now that I've been making music. And people in middle school hit me up talking about, hey, I was listening to your stuff in middle school. I'm making beats and whatnot. And I'm doing the same thing you did in college. Like, how does this work? Like, there's a dude on YouTube, I forget his username. He had messaged me and said that's why I made that video about how to like manage school and beats, because he had asked me that. And somebody else had asked me this, so I told him to go watch that other video.
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty interesting, but you have enough, like, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
So the same thing with everybody else that does
sense.
that. They got enough, like.
Mm.
Like, all you have, as long as you got that and that program, and you download them, and you get the VSTs, just look up some good VSTs and you put it on your computer. Like, you have exactly what I have on this one. Because the only difference between this computer versus that computer is I just have probably more RAM, and that's it. Because I don't have a whole lot of memory on it. That's why I got the external hard drive. Because it only has 32 gigabytes RAM. He probably has like 8, 16, something like that.
Yeah.
And that's enough. Because the old computer I'm telling you about was a really old, crappy one with 8 gigabytes of RAM.
Yeah.
Barely working. So you got enough, I promise you.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, do I owe you anything for this?
Nah, this is
You
it.
sure?
Yeah, no, this is all good. Just the experience.
Well, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, just being able to show you, help you, and you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I appreciate it. I do. I'm gonna give you some mud too.
I'm good.